Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast, where we dive into the wild world of wrestling, the only sport where threatening a child can make you the most beloved face in the business. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of wrestling storylines, analyze jaw-dropping matches, and speculate wildly on who's going to turn heel next. Get ready for a ringside seat to the excitement and absurdity of wrestling with us every week.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 14 of the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast. That's not a typo, it is episode 14. I'm going to be your main host tonight. I'm Dan, Danwell Casey on Twitter, and Ricky Knight Jr. is a cunt.
Yeah, and I'm Andy, obviously. And if you're anything like me, and I know I am, you'd be fucked over what's going on with Statlander.
And I'm Wrestling Mark 16, and Triple H is a cunt.
Get a lot of that negativity out of the air and straight away. But no, let's start with the positive today, shall we, lads?
I just wanted to get an Outrunners quote in there, to be honest.
Their tries, buys, delts, and it was fucking great.
That was the bit that got me at the start. Truth. If you're anything like me, and I know I am.
They are so funny, honestly. But did you lot watch Will Ferrell's films in the noughties when he was on peak form?
Yeah, I mean, Anchorman still sticks out as one of my favourites.
Yeah, it's my favourite ever film, and it's Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, the other guys. This is exactly what Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly would have done. Honestly, if they'd made a comedy about wrestlers, it's them two. Their delivery is perfect. It's so tongue-in-cheek. It's perfect. It's brilliant. I'd love to be able to go to the pub and have a pint with them and just find out what they're really like, because they don't ever give anything away in character, and I love that.
The shades of Kenny Powers in there as well for me, right, from Eastbound and Down, and it's so well done what they're doing.
It is. It really, really is. And I just want them to come to do a UK show, like a Rev Pro show or something, and someone to just go for a pint with them and just, I don't know, do what Leo Rush does and just go and get Greg's. I think we'd bond over Greg's, I reckon.
I've got to get him a couple of Greg's now as well. I said if he's on the show, get him a couple of steak bakes, and he said if you make it a cheese and onion.
Cheese and onion.
That's the one, yeah.
And now he's on the show. He's on the show now. I'm really excited about
that. There's never been a boring Leo Rush match ever. Never been a boring Leo Rush match ever.
He's brilliant, and he as we said the other week, he's kind of added a bit of spice to what was going on with Top Flight, because they were just being wasted as a trio, and adding him to the mix. Now it feels like they might be splitting off into a two, and either a two or another two, or two singles. But we'll see what goes on there. It could, who knows? We might wake up tomorrow and it's suddenly Leo Rush on his own with no explanation.
we'll get to that. But Dan, I think you were going to say before, as we said when we were sort of doing rehearsals for the podcast, it's a bit of a shit sandwich today. So we are starting off with good news, obviously, with the TV deal.
Obviously, the TV deal. I mean, it dominated the news last week, and as expected, it sent the whole of the grifters into meltdown. And it was a glorious day when that was announced. And not only that, but we had a fucking awesome Dynamite to go with it, didn't we? I mean, I fucking enjoyed it. It wasn't the best Dynamite of the year for me. Think a few people would agree with that, but yeah, I mean, that personally, I thought the Danielson Okada main event was perfect. It was like a real nice send off to the trilogy. Yeah, okay, the finish was a bit clunky, but and of course, the elephant in the room, Ricochet Ospreay, pull the house down. Even though, again, a bit of a schmoz finish, but it set up what looks to be a pretty banger pay per view. But we'll come to that later. But yeah, very, very positive time to be an AEW fan.
If people really want, I want good matches on TV. That's a reason why I deviated from WWE to AEW, because I want to watch good wrestling on TV each week. I don't expect every match to have the cleanest, end of the situation finish. I don't expect that. So, I mean, Takeshita inserting himself into that after 20 odd minutes of the action you'd expect from those two, really, really good from first bell to last. It was relentless. I see a few people online, the usual suspects, trying to say that, has Ricochet lost a step? No, he hasn't. He proved he hasn't. He did a 6:30 on a show last night. He's fine. I was happy with the finish. Like Takeshita getting involved in that, I think everyone on this podcast is a huge Takeshita fan. None of us can claim to be the number one Takeshita fan, but we are right up there in terms of championing him because he
I wonder who that
rules.
would be.
Takeshita himself, didn't you know?
the real
the whole thing was fucking brilliant. Just from what it started with, from attacking Nazis. And he's young as well. And he equipped himself so well in that situation up against a lot of far right extremists. It was quite staggering. But anyway, I digress. TV deal, great news. Brilliant seeing all the capitulations online from the people you'd expect to capitulate. Great seeing people coming out saying, I never said they wouldn't get a deal. And then screenshots just appearing of them saying those exact things. It's amazing. People think they can. You can't say stuff on Twitter. You can't say stuff on these podcasts and then not think you're going to be brought to justice if you deny you've said things. It's out there for every fucking person to see.
Is it elder abuse at this point with Conrad? Because he just wheels these fuckers out, lets them make a fucking idiot themselves, and he's just counting his money, isn't he? And trying to sell mortgages, and like he doesn't give a fuck. But like Eric Bischoff literally looks like he needs to be sectioned.
It's bad. It's really embarrassing now. It's got like, even with me, like I'm not a big fan of him as a human being. I think he's an arsehole. But I even feel sorry for him now because I think he's like when he argues with Meltzer, Meltzer humiliates him so badly. And the thing is, Bischoff isn't the kind of person. Bischoff will think because he yelled the loudest, he's won the argument. Bischoff is the kind of guy that has a 12-round boxing match, gets his head caved in for 12 rounds, the final bell goes, and then he still raises his hand at the end like he's won. He has no sense of reality in these situations. Dave Meltzer just keeps calm, composed, and bats him away every single time. And he's so oblivious to the fact that that people are laughing at him because he gets a few hundred likes on a tweet. He has no idea how badly he comes across to most people with a functioning brain.
So what did we have this week? We had Dave Meltzer owns a 3% share in AEW. That was what, wasn't it? Shad Khan bought all the tickets and he's actually paid Warner Brothers, hasn't he, to put this show on TV, something like that. And the other one was that Shad Khan has bought Warner Brothers. So which one is it? I don't know. Like,
and we've had,
I never heard that.
We've had requests to investigate them for federal fraud and all this kind of stuff as well.
These are all things that Eric Bischoff reported, and when you look where his source is, it was a fella on Twitter with 25 followers who just claims he's got a brother who works for Warner Brothers or something like that. That's like something from school.
I know. But what else has he been saying now as well? He's been saying about how they're not going to get on Fox, like they're not going to get on broadcast TV. Oh, just you wait, mate. Like, just you wait.
He's a fucking bellend. Like, I can't remember what he's saying, but like at the end of the day, as far as I see it, if they don't get on Fox and they get on Tubi, that's a good thing because Tubi is the fastest growing subscription service on the internet. Because it's ridiculous how fast Tubi. Because Tubi, I don't know if you know what I know
very little about it.
I first found it a couple of years ago because it was basically a very small niche streaming service powered by ads that had all these B-level action movies on from like the 80s and 90s, and it was great. I loved it. I had to use a VPN, obviously, because it wasn't available over here. But it's since actually grown and grown. I'm not sure if Fox bought it then, but it's the fastest growing, in terms of subscribers. So
I can imagine they must have done. I can imagine they must have bought it then.
They must have. It makes sense. But them getting on Tubi would be fantastic. But obviously, Bischoff would play that down because he's still living in the fucking 80s.
He's the kind of guy who just argues that the sky is purple until you agree with him.
I genuinely think
buys followers. He buys followers, I think, because
Conrad probably does.
I just had a look at his page. I'm just out of interest to see what he's been waffling on about the last couple of days. And none of his 90% of his tweets, they get to 11,000 views and that's it. They're all at 11,000. Very occasionally when he quotes someone big, it gets more, but most of his tweets that he tweets, I just get 11,000 and that's it. It's really weird.
It's probably Conrad's
followers.
Conrad's probably buying followers for all his platforms. It is elder abuse at this point. He's probably giving them a wage and being, you go out there, make a dick of yourself, and Conrad's counting the money in the background while they just fucking... he's going to get locked up, Bischoff, if he carries on, and Conrad won't give a fuck.
Do you know what it is as well? All of his followers, well, maybe not all of them, but certainly most of them, are probably his burner accounts. It's the same with that fucking knobhead who works for Bleacher Report, isn't it? For Connower.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. No, it's Connower. Did you see the tweet from him where he was all about talking about like the
I've got them all blocked.
He forgot to go onto his burner, didn't he?
Yeah, he forgot to switch accounts, so he's replying to his own tweet. Like,
oh my God.
Case in point.
I've got them all blocked. Honestly, I can't cope with them. You guys have way more patience.
Well,
than
me too. It's like you get sent like screenshots of it, and you can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
It's like I did the minutes of wrestling there. I only did it because I had a punchline. It was a setup to a joke. The first time I did it last week was a setup to MXM and the 7 minutes of sports entertainment on AEW TV. That's the reason I did it, and it was a 3-step process. And fucking hell, every bit of abuse. I was just like, you engage with them. I haven't got the patience, man. I don't know how you do it. I just block. I block. I'm done. And then the same with the one I did yesterday with CM Punk. The whole point was for the CM Punk comments. It wasn't about the fucking minutes on TV at all. But like, so many people just blindly don't get that it's a fucking, it's a layup for a fucking joke. You know what I mean?
If you can't, you've got to think the majority of the Twitter users are either very young, very stupid, or both. And they are like, I called out renowned racist Triple H for saying something racist at the weekend. And I got genuinely people saying, you deserve to die because I said that. Wow. Right.
Did you see
on a less extreme scale? On a less extreme scale, just really quickly, like on the rare occasion, like I don't have a big Twitter following. Like I'm just going to be upfront about that. Like I don't care about having a massive Twitter following.
It's the best thing to not care. Fuck it. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I tweeted something and it got a bit of traction. Like it got like quite a few thousand likes and a handful of reposts and lots of replies. And it was, if you looked at it, anybody with half a brain could see that I wasn't being serious. It's about what I was manifesting for the 5th anniversary show.
Oh God,
it was about it was just like, okay, I was coming up with these really unrealistic, like tongue-in-cheek things. I even referenced The Simpsons in one of them, and I got people replying to me saying like, what was it? Saying like, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot. The most likely scenario is that AEW's ratings are going to continue to decline." It's like, do people not have any kind of sense of like reading humor in tweets?
No, they don't.
They do.
No, there's a fella there today. You know about like the abuse now. Some fella today goes, I can't remember what I said. I said something about like the and he goes, "Yeah, well, your name is Ric Flair." I said, "I don't know if you're aware, mate, but I'm not actually Ric Flair." Yeah, well, he's a rapist. I'm like, I'm not Ric Flair. I said, whatever. I said, I don't actually think he's been charged with rape, unlike, the people you're championing. And he goes, "You're a rapist." I was like, what? Where the fuck has that come from?
Well, that was
Then he carried on repeating it, though, in following tweets. "Yeah, you're just a rapist. Tony Khan's a rapist. The Jaguars are rapists. And AEW's rapists." I was like, what the fuck? How have we got here?
This is it.
Mate, it's so bad. It's so toxic. I'm going to quit it someday. One day I'm going to wake up and go, I'm going to do a nice normal tweet. I'm going to see the abuse tweet. You know what? I just can't be fucked for these people anymore. And I'm just going to get bored.
You're going to do a
I agree, but just one of those things that I got replied. I said, just again, tongue in cheek, I said JD should be banned from life. And again, that's a pretty innocuous thing to say, but people were thinking that I was wishing death upon the guy. People just took 2 and 2 and made 78. Assumed that I wanted people to die for wrestling opinions. I didn't. I just said he should be banned. That's all it was.
It's the funny thing is like, I mean, that's how it is. Like the amount of time, I've done a couple of tweets when I question like moral things with WWE, and it often comes down to race because there's such a checkered history there. And I'll get people so vehemently attacking me in the comments, saying I'm not in a position to say these kind of things, whatever. And they literally always, you go on their profile, and it's just a dude that's just full of like MAGA stuff on their profile. So they are doing this just to trigger more and more people and just to cause more division, cause more arguments, like they did with you, like referencing calling you a rapist again and again. They know exactly what they're doing there. They're just there to incite more hatred, more division, and cause more negativity and more toxicity, because that's what they are. They have nothing to do in their own life to elevate themselves. So instead, they'll try and bring other people down to their miserable, pointless level. And that's what people do.
It's very true. But this is why I ultimately wanted to, all of us can, have a part to play in this. Like, we all started this Discord to get away from this negative Twitter space, which, admittedly, I want to use a lot more. Like, I think I'm just going to spend a lot more time in the Discord, to be honest. Like, because people there actually I can have a conversation with without being like verbally abused.
That's a big plus.
You're not getting shouted down for enjoying something.
Exactly. Yeah. So we will. For the listeners, we do have a Discord space. We haven't plugged it a lot because we don't want to be like in your face, but obviously it is there. We are all on it occasionally, and we will actually treat you with respect. And it's a safe space where your wrestling opinions without being accused of being a rapist or wanting people to die.
It sounds a lot more appealing.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you use this? Yeah, why wouldn't you use the Discord?
Yeah.
Anyway, TV. It was good. It was brilliant, wasn't it? Get that TV money coming in. Everyone shuts the fuck up, and then we got a fantastic Dynamite. It was a great Dynamite. Like we'll probably go on to talk about some other things, but Dynamite itself was brilliant. It was a quality show.
It really was.
It usually is, isn't it? Dynamite's never bad.
Yeah, we've waxed lyrical about this a lot, but AEW's been on like a really successful run of Dynamite, and I don't know how long. Like, some haven't been as great as the others, but I can't think of one like this year alone where I just haven't enjoyed myself, at least to some degree.
The last show was in Charleston, West Virginia on April the 10th. That got a 4.64, and since then only 2 episodes have got under a 7, and they were a 6.93 and a 6.86. So that's the kind of run. The run of good to great TV since mid-April, and that's the last episode that was bad was to be fair, it was a shit episode. It was Samoa Joe beat Dustin Rhodes in the main event.
I don't even remember.
That's when they were waxing. It was during the time of when Cody was fighting Roman, and then they were like, well, we've got Rhodes versus a Samoan Joe at home.
But I remember because I think it started off with
a great one.
Copeland Penta was an okay match, and then there was Shane Taylor Productions against Jericho and Hook and Shibata. Then there was Okada beat a Jobber, Mariah May and a Jay, and then the main event. It's not the best show. But then again,
it sounds bad to be honest. I can't even remember that one, but it does. But like I agree with you though. What you've said a bit fair, but I actually think a lot of romanticism goes on about Dynamite and when it was great. I actually think this is the best year of Dynamite. I
agree.
Such good quality, and storylines have been brilliant. For the most part, up until like very recently. But it's been great, and this week's was a great show. We had some great matches. We threw in some storyline stuff there to further some matches. For WrestleDream, set a few things up in motion, and it was great. It was great TV. The only thing it was missing was the Outrunners, but we got them on Collision. So
this match with BYV was really good as well. Like I think they're really, as we predicted and as we hoped, I think they are sort of starting to pay a bit of attention to the crowd reactions and the merch sales that the Outrunners are pouring out, and we might get that title run at least, if not later this year, early next year, if the momentum continues. But they can't wait too long.
You've got to pull the trigger at the right time, and it's got to be before the end of 2024.
You say they're noticing the crowd reactions and the merch. They're also noticing the Group Chat Wrestling podcast, telling them where they should go with this, which we did predict. They're taking a little bit longer than we hoped, but they are eventually listening to us and going there. So it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's happening. And what's happened this week has not only elevated the wrong way. That's stupid. It's not only put a bit of more of a new coat of paint on FTR, but it's also working really well with the grizzled young vets, because they're not getting absolutely twatted in every match.
No, they're losing by accident. They're losing by like freak accident kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to come around where they're going to fucking hit a mean streak and get a few wins together. So it's good. It helps everybody.
Yeah.
But with Takeshita getting involved in Osprey Ricochet, that was where as we said a few weeks ago, some of you guys were saying Okada for the CC. I was saying that I actually thought he was going after Osprey. I'm glad it's gone that way, because for 2 reasons. I don't like heel, like I've said, but also the Continental Classic. It really, I don't like it being a belt defended. It should be a one-off tournament once a year. Wrestlers should be looking forward to getting that entry. to enter into the tournament and win it and be the champion for a year. There shouldn't be a belt. It should. Imagine Zack Sabre Jr. going around defending the fucking G1 in a match every couple of weeks. It's
true.
Stupid.
My idea of the C2 was that it was AEW's answer to the G1, or at least something akin to that. So I mean, this is only their second year, and last year was a novelty because it was really about making Eddie Kingston the first Triple Crown champion, which again you could argue was the right call. And I thought, again, that run of TV late last year, post Punk, was when we started to see the momentum shift, and we actually started to see AEW produce some really great television towards the end of 2023. But I mean, I was chatting to someone earlier about this. I was chatting to someone earlier about how is the belt going to work with this year? Are they going to put the champion automatically in the tournament? And my theory is they could sort of lose it at any time. So if they don't win the round robin side of it, then they are stripped of the title, and then the title then goes to the overall winner, or they just fight the winner of the tournament. There's a bit of question marks about how it's going to pan out, but either way, whatever the case, I'm still dying on this hill about Takeshita actually winning the actual thing.
I think he should,
I wouldn't mind that. I think that would be. In fact, I think that's what I did say. I'd rather see him feud with Ospreay now. I didn't expect a three-way, but I still think Ricochet ends up on that side, and I still would love Takeshita to win the tournament as an actual tournament winner, rather than winning it off someone in a random fucking Dynamite. Because what I'd love most to happen, and I don't think it will, but then again, who knows? It's not that far detached from reality that we could wake up one day and the belt's gone, and it's just now a tournament based on recent events. But that's what I would like. I would like them to say. I would like them to just say the belt from now on will only be won once a year, and then you are the champion for that year, because it's the prestige that champion will carry throughout the year, and then look, and wrestlers can kind of have an aim of, I want to be in that tournament by the end of the year. That's my fucking aim for this year. That would be a great for someone like Sammy Guevara. He could be pushing all year. I want to be in that Continental Classic. That's what I'm aiming for by the end of the year. Someone like Scorpio Sky, if he does ever appear from that nightclub that was around for a while, the private party we're hanging around in, that now seems to have vanished. If Scorpio Sky turns up, he could be I want to be in that tournament. I've got 6 months, whatever. Obviously it's not 6 months now, it's 2, but if it was earlier in the year, I've got 6 months. That's my fucking aim. No, I want to go to everyone, and I want to prove that I deserve a spot. And if it had prestige like that, and more of a, I was going to say aura then, but you know what I mean, more of something about it than just being a belt that is defended every now and again for 20 minutes. I don't know.
It's a weird one, because I think AEW. This sort of leans into the whole sort of ethos of this podcast really today. It's to talk about AEW isn't really exempt from criticism, and there is an argument to be made that they do have too many belts, and that a lot of them are just quite similar to each other. A lot of people, rightfully, I think, say that the Continental and the International are too similar. But I think you can argue that they did just sort of strap Okada up to give him a noteworthy, lengthy run with a belt, because he can't be world champion straight off the bat, especially with you look at how top heavy the roster is, and then the TNT and the international titles can sort of be the mid card titles as well. But I don't think they've executed the Continental title as well as I would have liked.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That's not a knock on Okada, because he's great and I love everything that he does. But again, I think I wouldn't be upset if they just did what you said, Andy, and that just have it have the belt given to the winner, like the Owen, it gives them that moniker for the rest of the year until the next tournament.
It should be, and it should be something that they kind of brag about and they're proud of, and it should be announced throughout the year. The Continental Classic champion. As he's going around, like they do with the G1 champion. Zack Sabre Jr. is going around carrying that trophy around, but he's not putting it up. He's not putting it up, for a match. He's not being like, oh, you could win the trophy, lad. 20 minutes, let's go. Just once a year, That's what it should be. And like, it wasn't a knock on a card either, because I felt the same when Eddie was the champion. It was stupid. It was pointless. And if you remember, for a while, we all had this. We were all curious as to whether the belt was an actual belt or whether it was just a symbolic of the Triple Crown. And once he lost that, it would go, but it didn't. And then it became the belt that's now being defended. And I was a bit disappointed when they did that, because, like I say, as I've said about 10 times in the last 5 minutes, it should just be a one-off tournament once a year, and I feel like it would mean more.
Yeah, or they have it where, the tournament gets like the main event spot at like Double or Nothing or Forbidden Door or something, or, some kind of pay-per-view where that's meaningful, that means a lot. You have that be a prestigious kind of spot, like the main event in Tokyo Dome when, the winner of the G1 gets that slot. Granted, Zack Sabre Jr. is slightly different because he wants to win it before he goes to the UK. But yeah, it's something like that would probably be a bit more effective. But then again, you get like the odd, people claiming, well, they're just copying New Japan. So it's like we always say, AEW tends to be in a bit of a lose-lose situation with these things. Whatever decision that they make, it's going to be met with criticism. And some of it is justified. But
everyone copies everyone. WWE are copying Newcastle at the moment, so fuck them. But before we move on, I do totally agree. Takeshita should win the Continental Classic anyway. It was a great match between Ospreay and Ricochet. I like the idea of a three-way between them, so that's one good match on the card that we got. I think it could be a good.
I wouldn't be surprised if Takeshita wins the International though. Like, I can see it happening because without Ospreay losing, but either way, just strap him up.
Yeah,
man needs a title. But yeah, well, we've spoken a bit about criticism surrounding AEW, and I think it's only fair that we, in the interest of fairness, actually kind of address some things that have pissed us off this week. So I think, well, the elephant in the room, really. Andy, do you want to take the floor on this one?
I'll start off, yeah. Like, I mean, look, at the end of the day, they got the TV money, yeah? And nothing succeeds like success, and that was success. Sorry, I just wanted to get another Outrunners line in there. But then they go and follow it up by waking up one day to find that, like, I know you guys had all said, oh, it'd be great if Chris Statlander versus Mercedes. And I was like, I don't like heel versus heel, and I don't. But I would much rather have if them just had a heel Statlander versus a heel Mercedes, and then tell a story during the match about maybe a turn if they want to do a turn, or a split with Stokely, than what they have done, which is insult our intelligence basically by just one day. Yeah, I'm good. I've just spent the last 8 months or 6 months, however it was, harassing and trying to fuck over the biggest baby face in the company. But I've just decided today I'm actually good. And Stokely, who's Stokely? Never heard of him. Who is he? Is he some fellow around? I don't know. Because that's what's just happened. And like, you've got people condescending fuckers on the internet tell you should watch the shows. I watch the shows. They've not explained anything. They haven't explained a fucking thing. And then people go, let it play out. Let what play out? What are they going to tell us next week that the reason? We should have had a fucking a reason why this has happened, or at least play out during the fucking match, which would have been good actually if they did that. Maybe Stokely gets involved, fucks it up fresh, he turns on Stokely. You could easily have done that, but to do what they've done, which is just turn up one day and go, "Oh, never heard of Stokely. Was he around here one day?" I'm good, by the way.
So I mean, again, I think we're all in universal agreement there that it's a bit of a head scratcher and not the best execution. I have seen people say, I don't know if it was, I think it was from a reasonably reliable source, said there is an explanation to this we're going to find out about. So again, I'm more than happy to hold my hands up, but it's very flat when they do something this stupid. They don't do it that often, but it's just so easily avoidable. There's no reason, there were no obstacles to stop you doing this. One of the biggest issues is Statlander Mercedes is potentially the best in-ring match that they can put on. And they're giving it to us brilliant. But at a week's notice with no logical build, it's just a bit shit. I mean, this match could be that good because, again, when Mercedes is up against someone who's really good, you get the best out of her. A lot of the AEW women's best matches in their careers have been against Chris Statlander. This match could be, I'm assuming it's going to be at WrestleDream. This match could be one of the best matches comfortably of the show. It could be it could be up there with the best female match in AEW in 2024.
It may not be Mercedes though, because have they actually said this yet? Because they seem to be hinting that it could be Camille or Mercedes. So maybe does Statlander have to go through Camille first to get to Mercedes? Which is, if that is the case, that's even worse because they could have at least then told the story of her actually turning, up until the Mercedes match. But regardless, whatever, like it's going to be a great match when they eventually do meet. But it's like after putting so much work into turning the heel and getting her over as a heel, and the character development they've done, for it to just one day be like, oh yeah, no, I'm reborn. It's like, come on, you can do better than that. I know they're scrambling to get a pay-per-view card built within 2 weeks, but you can at least put a bit into it. Like for instance, they did that with a match that no one fucking seen coming on 1 week's notice, the Jericho and fucking Briscoe match. They got heat on that match by Jericho doing a promo and actually telling the story, and it's very threadbare, but they at least got people interested by a promo that was something that usually when someone references someone dead, I'm not really asked. Like when Christian said to Jack Perry, "Oh yeah, your dad's dead." It's like, "Oh, nice one, Christian." But when Jericho said that, I was like, "Oh man, no, that's too soon. That's too soon, low." Like, and it did feel wrong, but it's actually got people now. I hope I want to see Briscoe beat the living shit out of him, and that's going to happen. And you could have done something like that with Statlander. At least have a segment on Dynamite or something to show the split with Stokely. Just anything. I mean, they've shown they can do that. We've built a three-way within 1 week. So why just turn up one day and be like, "Oh, I'm reborn"? It's I don't know. That's the only reason why this has upset me a lot more than it probably should have, in terms of like I'm not really usually that bothered if stories aren't 100% perfect and there's a few things that don't make sense. But this one, it really is stupid. It is. I'm sorry, it is. It's terrible.
Even if they just said something along the lines of where, because Stokely has cost Statlander a couple of matches when she was a heel, or is, I don't really know what. And even if they just logically said, look, Statlander had said, look, Stokely, like, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. You've cost me some matches. I want to go and do this on my own. That would have been more logical than just like doing what they did.
Yeah,
it would have, but it also still would have been shit. It would have been better if she actually had a match. It happened in the match, and they completely lose the shit. And they could have done that on Dynamite or Collision. They could have easily done that this week. That's why it doesn't make any sense at all. It's just stupid, and it's not the only instance of this week. We had Private Party have gone from nightclub sequences 2 weeks in a row to nothing, to then being attacked by John Moxley, to now randomly having lost a match, getting a title shot. And it's like, like I get that people have been calling for Private Party to get a push, but that's not how I would think it would be done. You need to have them on TV a lot more, because the internet are loving this because they're big on Private Party, but general people I spoke to on the internet are like, I'm not really fucking asked. I don't really, what have they done? We haven't seen much of them because they're not on TV a lot. They're not being drip fed. You're not being like taught to be invested in these guys. So to just randomly give them a title shot after a nightclub vignettes, a John Moxley interaction, and then it's like, oh yeah, title shot with the Young Bucks. Good luck.
Honestly, this might be controversial, but it doesn't feel that Private Party are that level of people like the FTR, the Outrunners. Sorry, but yeah, it doesn't feel like it just feels like this is just a case to just get them on the card to kind of like appease the internet crowd, and then as soon as WrestleDream's done, they'll just go back to square one again, where they don't really know what they're doing with them.
It feels that way. It really does, and I totally agree with you. They're not on the level of the guys you mentioned or the Acclaimed, and that's because they haven't been shown on TV a lot. They haven't been. People haven't been given anything to be invested in them, and just them suddenly getting a title shot isn't going to get people invested in them. The internet love them, but the internet is a very small portion of reality.
Yeah.
I mean,
minority.
Yeah, and that hence why rating segments and things don't reflect the IWC's view on things, and like I think you're right on Private Party. I think they'll get this shot, they'll lose, and then they're back to trying to come up with some way to go with them next.
To me, like again, this. Well, absolutely, you took the words right out of my mouth. But no, I mean, hopefully, looking at WrestleDream, I mean, just really quickly, I mean, we spoke about this before. Like we know AEW goes all out, no pun intended, at pay-per-views. Like they deliver. Like all the matches are invariably good to great to possible match of the year candidates. You're guaranteed to get something worthwhile every pay-per-view. But it feels like because of the way, and this is another criticism, because of all the stuff that they've had over the last few weeks, so very close together, from All Out to the 5th year anniversary, Grand Slam, I missed that, and Title Tuesday, and then now WrestleDream, so close together. Like the build hasn't been like all that, like somewhere nowhere near to what it,
100%.
It's been 2023 pay-per-view booking again, and it's not acceptable for me. It's really been a problem since All Out, like having 2 specials essentially on the weekly shows. Maybe Tony has a problem looking too far ahead in terms of the way he does things for whatever reason, I don't know. But the fact that we finished All Out, we could only seemingly focus on the on Grand Slam, and then we had the 5-year anniversary, and then it's oh shit, we've got 1 Dynamite, 2 Rampage, which will mean nothing, and 1 Collision, to book an entire pay-per-view here, and we know what the main event is, but the rest of the card, like this time last week, we could have, I don't know how many matches we would have sat on last week's episode and said with conviction were going to happen. I know we probably threw a few matches out, but we had no idea, and that's not good. That, like the fact is, AEW don't sell the way WWE do because they're completely different entities, they're completely different products, they do completely different things, they have different audiences. AEW need to put big things on to bring in crowds. And if you don't, it suffers. And this could be Daniels' last full-time match, apparently. They've not done a good enough job of drumming up the interest because they've still not even sold 6. They'll end up with a sellout probably. It's a small arena. They've not sold 6,000 tickets and it's 3-4 days out. That is bad booking. There's no 2 ways about it. That's bad booking.
The thing that baffles me most of all, sorry, Andy, but like the thing that baffles me most of all was the years ago, we used to get like really scattered programs where you would get like one Dynamite or something. Oh, in 3 weeks in Dynamite, we're going to get Pac versus Kenny Omega, and then 2 weeks we've got such and such. And then next week we've got Joe Bloggs versus whoever. And you were given ample reason to wait to watch the blow off to a pay-per-view. Yeah, okay, this is slightly different, but they could have done, maybe following like All Out, they would have said, okay, well, in 3 weeks at the 5-year anniversary, we're going to have Ricochet Osprey, and then WrestleDream, we're going to book this match in advance, Danielson versus Moxley. And it just feels like everything's been really like week to week instead, whereas it's missing a lot of that sort of unpredictability and that anticipation that it had before.
No, the sad thing for me is that we'd actually kind of been raving about how well they'd done booking pay-per-views up until All Out.
They've done such a good job this year. It was
night and day.
It was a terrible criticism I had of them from 2023 because they didn't book the pay-per-views well. All In was a shit show. All Out was the following week. WrestleDream had the same problem last year. They whipped it together with a fortnight to go. Full Gear, I remember thinking, like, this is one of your biggest pay-per-views, and it felt like it was really rushed again. Even going back to the Revolution, Danielson, MJF, huge, built brilliantly. A lot of that card was put together 10 days out. To the public eye anyway. And I think from Revolution, Double or Nothing, Dynasty, All In, All Out even as well. They've done a great job. They booked them. They built them perfectly. I could not have asked for more the way they've done it. They've done it brilliantly. And this just feels like a real step back because it has been a month since All Out now. They've had a month. I know they've had specials, but that's irrelevant. This is the pay-per-view. This is WrestleDream, a show last year that got rave reviews as one of the best pay-per-views in ring you're going to see. And look, again, we're going to get onto the card because we're going to have this shit sandwich. We're going to finish on a high because the card is fucking good. But the journey here has been shambolic to some extent.
It has totally, and like I say, it's very disappointing that it almost like this had changed. We were loving the pay-per-view builds, and up until All Out, it was great. But I do feel it's like what we've all said, that there's too many big shows in such a small period of time. Like the 5th anniversary, that had to be a big show. Grand Slam, if you remember, coming off All Out, they basically rejigged everything. It was like a reboot, a reset, because Grand Slam wasn't selling. And that's when we had the whole change into Mox instead of Derby.
Yeah.
And because Grand Slam needed something, it needed something really meaty to get stuck into. We had the Nigel against Bryan, and so it was almost like that changed a lot of things. That kind of upset a lot of the path of where it was going, and we know that Tony doesn't really do well when things don't go as planned. When he has to pivot, he struggles when he has to pivot. Hence why we had Jade as champion for 87 years. So it's unfortunately, it feels now where we're in a bit where he's kind of just juggling things and seeing where things land because of the lack of time, and it's shit. Like that, I've no doubt that this pay-per-view will be phenomenal. It'll probably be a 10 out of 10, and we'll be raving about it because he always does it. He pulls it off, but the build is fucking atrocious.
But this is the thing. It's, to me, I mean, obviously, I grew up watching wrestling where you had 12 pay-per-views a year, and no matter what kind of specials were in there, in the weeks leading up to it, they were never like really centralized. They were just sort of passive. They played sort of second fiddle to the stories that they were trying to tell, however shit they may have been. But this time around, I mean, I'm a bit old school in that sense, and I just think that your pay-per-view should always be the main focus, no matter what the specials are. By all means celebrate them, and by all means make them commemorative, but they should not be like treated at the same level as a pay-per-view coming up. Like WrestleDream should have been promoted like the Dynamite after All Out, not Grand Slam. Grand Slam could have still been mentioned, but it would have been ideal if that was like on like a slightly lesser level than WrestleDream. WrestleDream should have been on the billboards, on the Titantron, on the screens and everything like that from day one.
They need to make them their own they should be their own private entities. I'm all go big on Grand Slam, but it needs to. Grand Slam should have had it again, been its own private entity in what it's doing for the big matches, but it still should have been leading on to WrestleDream. WrestleDream should have been something you started after that. There should have been ramifications on that show. They should have been saying, this is a big night for us, Grand Slam, but this is a bigger night. And they didn't do that at all. And that's how we got to last Wednesday, starting Dynamite last Wednesday, where realistically they then have 7 hours of TV, if you include Rampage and as being big enough to get stuff, with 0 matches announced. And WWE WWE will always be as big as they want to be, because that's who WWE are. AEW are only as big as their last show or their last week. Their perception can change rapidly. There's so many people out there, so many shooters that can bring them back down very quickly. Again, I thought Dynamite was good last week. The next day when I looked on Twitter, it was like, for some reason, because it wasn't a 10 out of 10 episode, it was a dreadful episode at first. There was so much negativity the day after the fucking TV deal got announced. It's like people wanted to bring them back down to earth. And to some extent, it succeeded. And a couple of rough patches, a few criticisms here and there. Tomorrow night's Dynamite is at the moment going to be the lowest ever attended Dynamite, including Daly's place.
That's
shocking, really.
I agree.
Sakan, it's in a place called Spoken, I think it's pronounced. Spoken in Washington. Yeah. I looked where it is on Google Maps. It's in the fucking arse end of nowhere. Like, there's not a major city.
They do this.
Mate, but I thought they'd got past this. They did this again. I know they thought they had the confidence to tap into new markets last year, and it failed miserably. I thought they've got past doing this. This is ridiculous. Like, I don't know how big the population of the place is.
Is this because of this thing that came out that WWE prevent people from marketing shows anywhere they've been for, like, was it 3 months or something? And like maybe WWE are just like everywhere. So AEW is like, is that why they're going for these shithole places? Because otherwise, why are they? It doesn't make any sense.
It could be a case of where I saw something about how WWE like have agreements with venues, certainly, that no other wrestling competitor, show, whatever, is allowed to run there for a certain time period after they've already been there. I don't know if it's venue specific or whether it's just like town.
It has to, they can't. There's no way they can have the town. Venues, I understand. I don't agree with it, but I can definitely understand that being the case. There's no way they can do towns. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look now to see the last time they even went to Washington. They went to a place called Everett. No, that's not even been yet.
There was something about them not being allowed to market in certain places where WWE have been. I'm not sure whether that's a deal with
that should be illegal.
Or the council.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
That's a long way away.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, that kind of thing, because that defeats the whole object of like free market and being able to advertise. Obviously, if you pay, that's I don't agree with it. It's kind of fundamentals of capitalism. Like, you're allowed to kind of, pay money and advertise your business. So if they do that, then there's some shady shit going on. But
this sums it up for me. this is obviously not a wrestling crowd yet. So again, this is why if WWE don't go to a place, there's a fucking reason WWE don't go to a place. The last time they did an actual any show there that wasn't either a house show, a WWE live, or a Saturday night main event, or one of the Super Show things. The last time they did a SmackDown there in May 2011.
Okay. Right. So fine. So they clearly don't have like a stranglehold over the town, but I don't know. Like it just seems
over the town, to be honest.
The
fucking Salem's lot by the sounds of it.
WWE aren't going to a place for a TV show for 13 years. There's a reason WWE aren't going to a place for 13 years. They probably don't go to this place because WWE's marketing team are going to be fucking great at what they do. Let's be honest. They're going to be machines at what they do. You look at how they're selling out now. They have this perception they're white hot, even if, to be fair, SmackDown it's an actively terrible show each week. But the perception is they're white hot, so people flood. People keep coming. They're still getting over 10,000 for shows, even if SmackDown's a 5 out of 10 literally every single week. AEW don't have that luxury. AEW need to look at markets and realize there's a reason WWE haven't gone there to do a TV show for over a decade. They did a house show there in January. Again, I don't know if the crowd would have been on there. They got 4,000 or something there in January. And again, like, why would you go there, man? What would possess you to go there? I know it's the same state as your pay-per-view on Saturday. But just go to Cali, do one in Frisco, do one in somewhere north of LA. As you've got a couple of shows there coming up. I don't get it.
Somewhere on the West Coast wouldn't be. It's not like it's hard to get to. I mean, I know Washington's like well northwest, but even like just doing West Coast somewhere, LA, somewhere like that wouldn't be a bad thing. I can't really remember. I always struggle to remember like the places of towns and cities that they've already been like in the course of a calendar year. It's just one of those things that I don't retain. But yeah, it just seems better than just going to this buttfuck nowhere town.
Hi guys, welcome to the Group Chat Geography podcast.
But mate, it's such a thing. Like, again, I've never cared about ratings. I do care about crowds simply because it affects the visuals. Like you saw the last couple of weeks, the whole bottom tier at least has been sold out. It's nice and it's bright and you can see things. The cameraman doesn't have to worry about. They can cut things from the entire way around the ring instead of just having two sides of the ring where the cameraman needs to be because they don't want to have the tarping vision, understandably. Just don't go. Like the thing is, they're doing a West Coast tour essentially now. They're not going to LA. They only go over there once every 6 months. They're going to San Jose and they're going to Stockton. They're not even going unless either of them are right on the brink. But they're not going to Staples or anything. Why are you not?
At the end of the day, Tony has fallen into the trap, and it needs to be dealt with. Sorry,
another round. No, I mean, in all seriousness, like again, fair criticism. I mean, I know we've spoken about this, about how AEW's they don't need bookers, they don't need writers. They've got plenty of them, and they do a good enough job of it for the most part, anyway. What they do need is a marketing team and PR team like that can actually take their shows to the next level. I know, but it needs reinforcing.
It's fucking terrible.
I think that's the missing awful. Link. It's the missing link, man. It really is. It makes such a difference because it will affect over time. It will affect their perception, which, as we know, can turn in like an instant.
It has affected it.
It's fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
The WWE have a fucking sex trafficking case on the go. Triple H is a fucking racist. And that's everywhere. Logan Paul is trying to kill his fucking dog whilst at the same time poisoning kids with fucking Lunchables. And WWE PR makes WWE seem like the hottest fucking thing on the planet. Exactly. AEW have got none of that shit going on. And they're just like, oh, yeah.
And the irony is, like, when Shad Khan is not, like, buying WBD, he can actually afford to restructure the company to accommodate more PR and marketing like functions and actually make key business decisions. Like
it seems like the fundamentals are they're 5 years old now. They've gone through the highs when they were literally on Raw's fucking neck for the ratings. They were getting 6,000 in for Dynamites whenever they went to a decent city. That they're now going to get 3,500. They had it in the palm of their hand, and then it started to slide, and they never arrested the slide. And it was so obvious what needed to be doing. And the thing is, we're saying this, the TV is still the best TV in wrestling for me by a long way. Dynamite.
It is.
Dynamite is the best wrestling show each week.
even with the issues this week, it was still a fucking brilliant wrestling show.
Yeah,
it was fucking excellent. Even like Collision was excellent. Even Rampage was really fucking good.
I agree. That's the first time I've watched Rampage in a little while, to be honest, because I was actually intrigued by the card. I mean, yeah, I was hoping to get a bit more substance for WrestleDream, but it didn't end up happening. But that doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy myself, and that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy myself, because I'm one of those fans that I'm not entirely dependent on a story. Like, yeah, okay, like the Statlander Mercedes thing notwithstanding, because that has lots of issues, but to me, like, I'm okay if they decide to run with Statlander and Mercedes, because I know that that'll be a good match. Like, it doesn't hinge on me enjoying the show to actually for that to be a factor. So, but at the same time, I think they would appeal to a lot more if they did just pivot and change the way that they market, because it's missing something.
They also need to bring the rankings back, because then you can get great matches that actually do mean something without having to stick a stupid fucking story around them. Bring the rankings back. Especially if we're getting dark back.
They brought them back for like 2 weeks earlier this year, and then they went away again.
I know. It's fucking
I was
stupid.
so annoyed about that.
Bring them back, and then, because like, if Dark is coming back, it'd be great, because then we can actually bring the rankings back, because people forget that the rankings played such a good part in storyline anyway. It was great, you know. You'd have wrestlers picking up wins. Such a simple concept. Of course, yeah, working their way up the ladder to earn a shot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's fucking combat sports. Like, what you don't need soap opera storylines.
Yeah, that's the thing. This whole, again, going back to Stat and Mercedes, is, again, it just feels WWE like, because in the Vince era, this thing would happen every single week or every single month.
100%.
This whole thing would just be so normal for that era, and it looks like we're at a point where we've grown up, like, past this now. We should be able to at least do something a bit more intelligent and logical now, and they dropped the ball with that one. And I just hope that if Tony Khan actually does kind of pay attention to what the internet is saying, and I'd like to believe he does, because after every Dynamite, he seems to just be responding like, no tomorrow.
Yeah.
I really hope he does pay attention to some of the actual quite, like, valid criticism that they've had.
Well, I'm not going to try and come across a big shot, but myself and Wrestling Mark did speak to an AEW employee at some point over the last month who told us Tony Khan is always on the internet and he listens a lot. And that was Thunder Rosa, by the way.
Oh shit! Did she say that? Oh man, I was.
Yeah. Do you remember? We were like, how can you? We get you more matches from you. Like, can we get? And she said, tweet Tony. She said he listens. Tweet him.
Oh, did she say? That's funny, mate. I don't remember much at that point, to be perfectly honest. Interesting. Yep. Oh wow, that's funny. Anyway, right, I reckon we have.
Before we move on, can I just throw in a bit of positivity from the
That's what I was going to get to.
That we didn't talk about. Fucking, after all the fucking Mean Girl style bitchy fucking high school fucking pile-ons that go on the internet, Britt Baker had a fucking great match.
Oh,
it was a fucking quality match.
It was great. It was way better than the Mercedes match.
Yo,
she can still go. Like, I don't care what anybody says. You can pile on her all you want. She's not a bad wrestler.
But she's fine. That's what she is. She's fine.
But another thing that people often overlook, and I'd like to think that most people can actually sympathize. She had a fucking stroke near enough. Yeah. So of course she's not going to be back to, like, wrestling 5-star matches. Not that she was before. Okay, she's not that kind of wrestler, but she give her some credit. I mean, look, she deserves some kind of recognition for the performance she turned in against Serena. I thought it was decent enough.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the match with Mercedes wasn't even that bad. I still maintain that it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. The crowd was dead, but the thing that she does have that people don't seem to kind of accept plays a part in pro wrestling is she has charisma and she can talk on the mic, and the crowd are actually invested into her. She is a draw no matter what people want to tell themselves. And like unfortunately, back to that match, another, takes two to tango. Serena Deeb is one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet, but she has none of that other stuff.
Yeah.
And
this is why nobody buys her as a babyface. When she had the face run against Tony, and she was talking about her health issues, and the crowd were booing her because she was against Tony.
It was so sad that, and Tony was a heel at that point as well.
Exactly.
That's what. If you remember, that's when Tony flipped to her face because Serena Deeb was out there talking about how she had seizures, was it? I think, and the crowd are booing her, yeah, come on, hurry up, boo, we don't care, and it's oh man, that's sad.
It's not bad for her, really. It's not her fault, but yeah, she does
Stick her
all
in
of
the
her
Callis
talking
family.
in the ring.
Stick her in the Callis family.
Serena and Britt are like chalk and cheese, in terms of characters and ring styles, I guess. But they worked magic in the ring. It was great.
Yeah, it's a great fit. One with charisma and can talk and do all right matches occasionally. The other one who can put on incredible matches but has no charisma or ability to talk.
No.
But it was a great match, though. That's all I wanted to say. It was a great match this week, and not enough people talked about it. I don't think in the aftermath, because like a lot of wrestlers, it's this kind of, we want to hate, so we will never accept anything other than the fact that we don't like it, and that's that. So it was good to see anyway. But I still don't think he should have got a title shot.
I still want Willow to win on Tuesday, to be honest.
Yeah, well, she's going to, isn't she?
Well, don't count your chickens. Stranger things have happened. But
that's 100%. If you want Mariah May to get the biggest heel heat going, which you want to keep the heel heat that she has, because it started to die off a little bit. Yeah. Put it in against Willow, and it'll work. Yeah. Which will take us back round to the whole Statlander. Why the fuck have they changed after what she's just done with Willow? But anyway, let's go on to the card. Come on, because I'll just fucking whinge about this.
Look, can we jump in it? Because yes, we've again in the being logical and not sitting here acting like we are dick riding Tony Khan, as everyone who says anything positive about AEW is apparently done. This card is fucking great. There's 6 matches on the main so far, and we'll probably get 2 more women's matches. It's a really, really good card. All right, so I mean, even on the 0 hour, Atlantis Junior v Brian Cage would be a shitload of fun. I don't think we need to go into that much detail on that match, but it will be a lot of fun.
Brian Cage will win that.
Brian Cage is great. Atlantis Junior is great. I think this is the moment to put Cage with the Ring of Honor title. He deserves it. Fair play. They'll knock it out of the park.
Yeah, that match would be the definition of, when that's finished, I'll sit and go, yeah, that was a lot of fun. It'll be a really good match. And so the main card, 6 matches so far. I'm going to go with 2 matches not been announced that I'm of the assumption we're going to get, and that's going to be the 2 women's matches. So let's say I'm assuming we're going to get Willow v Mariah May, which is a match that I'm really intrigued to see. I've got a lot of time for both of them. They both have the ability to put on a great match. Neither have been, well, no, that's a lie. Willow has. Mariah's title reign, again, I think it would be a bit remiss to ignore the fact it's probably been a bit flat so far, and that's not her fault. She's not been booked to be this big world champion, in my opinion, that she should have been after the incredible program with Tony. They felt they were twiddling their thumbs a bit, which is another reason that's annoyed me, that they've twiddled their thumbs for however long now, for 5-6 weeks, when they could have really got this emotion a bit sooner.
I think this fits into what we said last week, or I'm not sure we did. We intended to talk about it anyway. Maybe we didn't. But the fact that there is a problem in AEW with the lack of faces, both on the men's and women's side, and I think that's fed into this issue with Mariah May's reign. It's the fact that there isn't any great faces. There's no great face. That's why they've done this Statlander thing. So I understand why. It's just the way they've done it. Stupid. But there's no faces. There's some great heels, no faces. Or no faces of that level, which is why Mariah's struggled to have a credible opponent during this last kind of month,
I agree completely, Andy. Well, with both of you actually, because you've made very salient points there. But I don't think personally the Mariah Pony program is done. I think we're about to get into acts 2 or 3, whichever way you look at it. So I think, as much as it pains me to say, I think Willow is taking the fall. But the storyline does seem quite thrown together. But it was always going to take a dip after Tony and Mariah had their first sort of big match. It was always going to take a dip. And Mariah being a heel, you need credible faces to sort of keep that momentum going. And she's done well with what she's been given, but I think we're just biding time, because I still think there's a chapter with Nina to tell. There's still a chapter with Tony to tell, and I think that's going to lead into the rest of the year. So I think this match, kind of fitting of what we've talked about being, with WrestleDream being, it seems like it's just there, get it out the way, and they'll still have a great match. They'll still absolutely probably it could be a shoe-in for one of the matches of the night if they do it right, because both of them
most shows have this potential, to be fair.
Yeah. So
most matches, sorry.
It has been missing that little spark almost, but what we talked about, the reasons why that hasn't come to fruition. But I'll still enjoy it.
Oh, of course, fucking hell. How could you not enjoy something with them two?
Yeah.
It'll be good fun. And I think that the TBS title match definitely has potential to be right up there for one of the matches of the night, because if we get Mercedes stat, we've covered the build. But if they're just given 15, 17 minutes in the ring, two women who, when they're on their top form, there are very few, if any, women in North America better.
I'm not convinced it's going to be Mercedes Stat. I still think we could end up getting Mercedes Camille. Statlander Camille. I'm not, only because they kind of hinted at that, in the last show, one show, and there was a rumor, wasn't there, knocking around that Mercedes suffered a
concussion. Shit, yeah, you're right.
But hang on, she's wrestling on Tuesday. She's wrestling tomorrow.
Oh yeah, she's wrestling.
She's
fighting Emi Sakura.
Yeah. Oh, maybe she's fine then. Yeah. She's going to get a good kick in there,
And the thing is, we've already got two women's matches on Dynamite, so there's no chance in hell we're getting Statlander Camille as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you could be right there, Andy. I mean, I guess by the time this gets released, it'll still be before Dynamite. So
I just felt like they were hinting that way with the way she was squaring up to her and stuff, and I thought maybe it would have made a bit more story. I don't know why I'm talking about story in this match, but it could have been a bit more of a story. She had to go through Camille first, but yeah, I guess
you've also got the thing. Camille's meant to be this fucking unbelievable powerhouse, this unstoppable. Then why is she gonna? She shouldn't be losing a match this soon. This is the first proper match. If she loses to Stat, there's no real winner from that match happening. Apart from the fact it'll be a cool visual and hopefully the match is really good. But no one losing affects both of them in this situation. The only other thing I could see is, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't pay that much attention to wrestling over the weekend. I'm not sure of what the actual words were, what the verbiage was between Statlander, Camille, and Mercedes, but I don't know what dynamic it takes. It's an interesting one, but it feels like convoluted mess.
Regardless, it'll be a good match. It is a convoluted match, but it'll be a good match anyway.
The thing, obviously, the main takeaway was it was quite heavily featured on Collision, because on Dynamite they came into some kind of disagreement backstage, but then nothing happened, and then Collision, it was Stat who was doing the interrupting. She sort of shoved Camille, and then after Stat's match, Camille then basically beat the shit out of her. So it seems to me, if we're following AEW's sort of logical and sort of expected booking in this kind of situation, that usually kind of sets up a match between the person who did the attacking and the victim. So I'm leaning more towards the fact that they're going to do Camille Stat here and then save Mercedes and Stat for another time.
Full gear. That'll be full gear then, won't it?
Well, we'll see. Have they got any more specials between now and Full Gear?
Okay, yeah. Do you think they could throw? Do you think Tony could throw a fucking mad one out there and really fuck everyone over, and Camille steps in and wrestles Emi in the week? Because they were going back and forth on Twitter, and Emi was saying to me, "Wear an open top because I'm going to slap the shit out of you," and Mercedes was replying with, "Hey, have a modelling shoot the next day."
The only thing is, both titles are on the line, aren't they? They promote it as strong TBS. that feels like a real rip-off if we go from a guaranteed new champion, essentially.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming
Mercedes
is winning the strong title back. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen.
She's already got she's got both of them still. Like, she hasn't lost like the strong belt.
Sorry, what I'm talking about.
She's just putting both belts on the line. So I mean, she's not losing to Emi Sakura. I mean, much as I like Emi, but I don't know.
I hope not, because it would be a real kind of fuck you moment if they do that. But I don't know. I just the rumours about her having a concussion made me wonder whether that was the case. And
it would just be weird for them to promote it as both titles if they're not going to have the match. It just feels that you've added something else to it, an extra incentive for no reason whatsoever. Which again, recent booking, who knows? But
yeah, it's very very WWE, but like the AEW in the last week wouldn't put it past them.
Very WWE.
Yeah. Anyway, great match.
Let's move on.
I reckon.
We've got the two matches that we've assumed out the way, so we've got 6 matches to go through. The first match, I'm going to do what I do during Dynamite and go for a shit while you talk about the Chris Jericho match. Andy,
I think it'd be a good match. I think Mark Briscoe's. It's going to be very much one way. Mark Briscoe's going to beat the living shit out of him because they wouldn't have done what they did in midweek if it wasn't going to end up that way. I think it's just going to be Mark Briscoe giving him what he deserves after saying that in midweek. I think it'd be good, and I'm hoping we get a couple more hints for Big Bill's turn, because it has to happen. Please don't put the brakes on this, and that's how it'll be a passable kind of 3-star match probably.
It'll be a run-of-the-mill Jericho match. Mark Briscoe, because he's Mark Briscoe, will pop me about 10 times throughout the match, just doing his dick.
I think there'll be a lot of blood as well from Jericho. I think he'll blade to fuck over this because of the Mark Briscoe, the Jay Briscoe thing. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Well,
I think it could be an absolute. I think it really is. I think he's going to punish him. And I can't see how we get a big Bill turn here.
You don't think Moxley will be pissed off that someone else is bleeding on a pay-per-view before him?
I think when it comes to the fact that it's Jay Briscoe, Jay Briscoe's memory involved, I don't think anyone will care.
It was a very old school promo about I felt when they did the promo on Dynamite in the TV time segment, it was just really simple and yet effective.
But it worked, and it got people actually. I'd seen so many people who were like, "Oh man, I hope they don't have this Jericho Ring of Honor match." To people being like, "I can't wait to see Briscoe beat the living shit out of Jericho." So it worked, He does what his job is, and like at the end of the day, he'll bring some buys in, because as much as people don't like to admit it, he's one of the bigger draws in the company, and that'll be what it's there for. It'll serve its purpose. It won't be the best match on the card. It never will be.
He's also one of the few old school guys left where he can actually sell a match just with one promo. And I give him credit. He did a great job of it. And he made me want to actually see, do you know what? Mark Briscoe's going to be a bit serious here. And he's not going to be his usual sort of goofy self.
As much as I love Jericho, I went from why are they even doing this? This is stupid to being, I can't wait to see this match. Because I do think he's going to take a fucking beating. And I just pray, Tony, if you listen to this, I'm going to ask you a question, Rick. If you listen to this, please, could you push the Big Bill turn a little bit now? Speed it up a little bit. And that's it. Like I say, passable match. It'll do what it's supposed to be. It'll get a few buys, and we'll get to see Mark Briscoe do something, which I'll never say no to.
Absolutely.
Oh, on to the next one then. One of the matches that I'm, again, I don't need to keep saying not the best Bill, because otherwise I'll say it for every match apart from the main event.
Have you finished, by the way?
Yeah. Just a quick one. Yeah. Put myself on mute. So yeah, it'll be the 5th one-on-one match, third in the AEW, between Brody King and Darby Allin. This could be fucking brilliant, because the last 2 matches were. I remember their matches vividly. I can't believe looking back on them. You remember Brody and Darby Allin? Do you remember their coffin match?
Yep.
Do you remember they had another match, just a one-on-one match? I think it was on Dynamite, maybe 3 weeks before that.
I do vaguely remember it.
Vaguely remember that one.
I think they were over 2 years ago. They were over 2 years ago, and that's scary, because it doesn't feel like over 2 years. I remember those matches quite vividly. I would have thought they were like, I don't know, summer 2023. But yeah, they were in the build-up. So we had a copy match then at the start of August. So they just threw another copy match in there all in last year, didn't they? That was Two coffin matches in one calendar month seems a bit excessive, but they were clearly both very good. This match will be fucking brutal. I'm really looking forward to Darby Allin toying with his life again.
What wasn't one of the sort of central themes is that Darby's never pinned Brody. Like, he's beaten him in matches, but he's never pinned him.
Yeah.
So I think this is where that kind of happens, and Darby will, as expected, take a beating. He'll get the shit kicked out of him, and Brody's the best big man in the business for me, at least, or one of them. Fucking love the guy, and
I love him.
Yeah, it will just be shithousery non-stop, 15-20 minutes of just violence, and we'll get what we pay for.
It's going to be thrown around like a fucking rag doll, isn't he, essentially? That's all it's going to be for, like, 20
It
minutes.
wouldn't surprise me if they throw a stipulation into this match. There's not one gimmick match yet. It wouldn't surprise me even if it's just a no-holds-barred match, just so it can be a bit fucked up.
Watch it be another coffin match.
A barbed wire death coffin match or something. But it wouldn't surprise me if there's a backstage promo where they just throw a little stipulation into this one, just to make it hardcore, make it a bit more brutal, and then protect Brody in the finish as well, because a big man losing unless it's a roll-up, obviously, it's a bit shit. Yeah. I love Brody. I don't like seeing him lose clean, because I'd love to see him go out on his own at some point. He's over everywhere he goes. He's amazing. Seems like one of the nicest guys in the world as well. Top fella, morally on point. So I've digressed as usual. Yeah, I just think this match will be, again, another one that at the end of the night could be a show stealer, because they've both got the ability to do so.
Yeah, I agree.
Can't wait for it. I'm going to say about every match, because every match is genuinely exciting.
I was just thinking that.
The next match for me feels that again, a reason I think this could be a show stealer is because I feel that there's going to be a real point to prove with the tag title match. Young Bucks against Private Party. Big moment for Private Party. Haven't got a clue the last time they had a match on pay-per-view. I'm going to check while you two start talking.
It was all in. It was all in the pre-show.
On the actual pay-per-view, let's have a look.
Not a main card.
Was that a 10-man tag?
It was like a 40-man tag, I think it was.
Yeah. I'm going to look for the last time they had an actual tag match.
Where they opened. But
anyway, while I have a little look.
I think I can remember. It was at Forbidden Door. They were on the pre-show again, running theme here. They were in a fatal 4-way tag, the House of Black one, pretty sure.
Right.
But I think I'm wrong. But
I think this would be a great match. I think they mainly because the Young Bucks can put together a great match with anyone. Private Party, they can go to a certain extent, and I think it'd be a good match. I think Young Bucks win in a 20-minute fast-paced match. Nothing.
Bucks have been on good form lately. Bucks have been on good form lately. I mean, again, I don't think they're ever on bad form, but the last couple of matches, I mean, they've proved again this year, no matter what people say, they've had 3 of the best tag matches in North America this year. I do feel that they're fighting with a bit of a point to prove at the moment. Like, how dare you think we're washed? We're far from washed. Private Party again. I don't think they've got a chance of winning. I don't want them to win. No. The one thing I'd like from them is I want them to put in the kind of babyface performance that the crowd are really over. Like the kind of thing when we first got the Acclaim coming through, that the fans suddenly they were matching. Oh shit!
Well,
we really want them to.
Well, what we've had with the Outrunners, you want the crowd to witness something and get behind them and be like, actually, we like these guys. Tony, give us more of these guys. That's what you want to come out of this, because they're not going to win and they shouldn't win.
The last time Private Party were on the main... Sorry, the last time Private Party were actually on an actual pay-per-view and not 0 Hour was in the Casino Tag Battle Royal, March 2021 Revolution.
Sad, really, isn't it? That's nuts.
3.5 years. So this is a big moment for them. Like a big chance for them to step up and say, look, we can hold our own here, because again, and the last time they actually had a match on actual pay-per-view, an actual tag match, was that's a buy-in again. I'm still going back. I'm back in 2020 now. It's been a long time.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I mean, what I was thinking of, like, you took the words out of my mouth by, when the Acclaim sort of first started getting over, when they were fighting Keith Lee and Swerve. And nobody was expecting anything, groundbreaking going into it, and then they stole the show. It ended up being the best match of the night, and I hope we get that, because both teams are capable of doing that. To me, it depends on the match placement, like on the card. Like, is it going to go on first? Is it going to go on sort of middle of the card? Depends all on that. And we know the Bucks can like really turn it up. and they can still go. And yeah, I hope we get some like pretty innovative stuff. I think both teams are capable of that.
Definitely.
But the results are foregone conclusion for me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the Private Party are going to try to get by, but they're going to be dealt with. And that's that. Let's move on.
That's 5 now,
Very
isn't
quickly.
it?
That's 5. Very quickly. I've gone back through to the beginning of time, which is obviously 2019 when wrestling started. And the only Private Party tag team match ever on AW pay-per-view was the World Tag Title 3-way match against SCU and the Lucha Bros at Full Gear 2019. So this is actually their first ever normal tag team match on AEW pay-per-view.
That's nuts.
Okay,
I mean, I know Zay's, you know, when Glenn was injured, I know Zay
they've had a lot of
like
injury.
I know Zay had like a trios match featuring the most thrown together tag team. It was.
I'd rather not remember that.
But yeah,
that was
Anyway, on to
the next one.
The fifth match on, well, however many matches you want to say. This would be a good match. I hope it's really good, and I'm really invested. But I can't say. I mean, I might be in a minority. It's one of the few matches I'm not overly invested in, and that's a TNT title match between Jack Perry and Shibata.
Yeah, same. I think it'd be a good match, but it doesn't grab me.
It's a dynamite match for me. And no build. I don't care that much.
I love Shibata.
Yeah,
I love Shibata, but he's obviously he's not the old Shibata, is he? So he's gonna.
Pains me though it does. I mean, you wouldn't ever catch me like, you know, chatting shit about Shibata. He's one of my favorites, like, of all time. Like, I've followed him since his New Japan days. Like, we know he can go still. He might not be the man he once was in the ring, but I think you can tell he's having a lot of fun. And you can tell like he's really thriving in AEW, and Jack Perry is also on a really good run at the moment. I think they can really like pull a rabbit out of a hat here and actually like surprise us. It just depends, I think, because it's WrestleDream. You know, you've got the whole link with Shibata and Inoki as well. Yeah. You know, like the lineage there. So it could be like, I'm going to win this for Inoki, and then Jack Perry gets some really bad like heel heat. Like,
I'd love it, but it's not
in the match.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's you can see this being a real heel heat magnet for Jack. He's going to do some dastardly shit, and it's just going to make people hate him more. And he's thriving on that at the moment. So, you know, more power to him. And I don't think Shibata's winning the TNT title, but I think it'll be a nice addition to the card.
It'll be a solid match. That's about it for me.
With things I've always found with AEW is when you have these matches that you're just a bit like, nah, I always get the feeling like I got the opposite in WWE. When you thought a match was going to be bland or crap on pay-per-view, it almost always was bland or crap. But with AEW, I always get the feeling that these lot know the perception of certain things. And again, because in-ring's so important, I always feel that if they feel that this match isn't going to be perceived to be something special, they'll go out of their way to make sure it is something special. Like whenever a Collision card looks like very flat on paper, it always feels they put that extra bit into the performances just to make sure that this card looks crap, but hey, we're still going to give you a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 show. And that's what I'm hoping we get from this match. That's what I'm hoping we get from Perry Shibata. They're both capable. Yeah. Perry needs to have a big match against someone who's not a Danielson or someone as well. I think it's important that he does. I would like him to win this match clean. And again, I just hope that they're both going out there with a point to prove, because we know they can both perform. And there's not really anything else we can say about this match, I don't think. Before we go on to what essentially is, well, it's not a double main event, but before we get stuck into the two really juicy matches, I suppose, do you think we're getting any debuts or returns on this show, or any other big moments that aren't just the matches?
I guess we'll have to say Shane McMahon, because we say it every time. But no, I don't know. I think I can't really think of any, to be honest. Maybe Bobby Lashley, but I can't see.
I think we're getting Lashley.
I think Lashley. I think if he doesn't show up on Dynamite, I think he's showing up at this pay-per-view.
Do you think they build?
My prediction. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, well, I think I know where you're going. Do you think they build to Swerve this week with the promise that Swerve will show up? Yeah,
that's what I think. And I think they'll beat. I think Nana will get beaten down. I think Nana's referenced wrestling. MVP, if he can wrestle, if he's fit to wrestle, I think they go for the tag match with the vision.
I love that.
I think we do. I think that Nana will say, "I'll see you two at the pay-per-view. I'll have Swerve Strickland with me." Swerve's going to be there in Washington. He's been the MVP of 2024. This in his hometown. Swerve is 100% going to be there, and that way, because look, I mean, Swerve can't lose again. He's lost the last 2 pay-per-view matches, but at the same time, Shelton losing his first match just means that straight away we don't care about him. So Nana's there to take the fall. Or again, we know we're going to get a debut in that match. Lashley's going to come in, whether it's a DQ finish or whatever.
I think you've got something with that, but what I would like to see is Nana get his wrestling gear on and say he'll wrestle. Swerve isn't around, he's not ready. And Nana be having the shit beaten out of him, and Swerve eventually shows up and makes the save. That's a full on. If you're going to push Swerve as a face now with the all the bullshit that he's done on the side, that is a face move. Nana getting the shit beaten out of him and Swerve coming down and cleaning house. Only for Bobby Lashley to then turn up and beat the shit out of Swerve and leave him in a pile on the floor.
Swerve Lashley is happening at Full Gear 100%.
However we get there, I think you're onto something with the Nana wrestling thing. I think that's a good one.
I agree.
I think again, with the need to sell more seats, I think they will announce Swerve beforehand. I think it's just the fact that Nana referenced wrestling. I fully expect that. And then it could even be the MVP says he's going to wrestle, but then he backs out of wrestling, and then Lashley comes in. So it's Lashley and Shelton against Swerve. It's something like that's going to happen on the pay-per-view. I'm 100% of that. That's what's going to be the big moment. I don't know if any other wrestlers are anywhere near ready to return or do anything yet.
I want to jump in real quick just so we don't forget.
Yeah, go for it.
The one match that I think we're going to get announced is Hangman Page versus Jay White.
Oh, of course we are. Yeah, we're definitely getting that. Fuck, we're definitely getting that match.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
The thing is, as well, I want to see it. Like, I really want to see it because Jay White, that pop that he got on Dynamite was unreal. Like, he's a full baby face now.
He looked very sharp as well.
Yeah, he did. He's one of the greatest. Like, at the moment, like I really think he should be like a top champion like in the next year. But again, the question begs the question: who goes over, who loses? Someone's got to take a fall there, or they do a schmoz finish, which would again spoil it a little bit. But I think you drag because Jay White was in the way of Hangman getting to Swerve, so he has a reason, and he butchered Juice up, so Jay has a reason for retribution. Yeah, put it on the pay-per-view, man. Like, sell some tickets.
That's definitely going to be on the pay-per-view. I mean, that means so we've got 7 matches on the main card. We've got 6 matches announced on the main card, haven't we?
So do you think that's
I reckon we'll get to 8 or 9, and then
I think we'll get to 10. Then they're going to put 2 women's matches on the card. They're going to put a Swerve something on there, and they're going to put this on there. That's 10 matches. They had 10 matches last year.
I was hoping for a 4v4 match as well. A Outrunners and FTR against fucking whoever.
That's a 0 show match.
0 hour.
Yeah, well, I don't care if it's a 0 hour match. Just give me Outrunners and FTR against Grizzled Young Vets and whoever else. Undisputed King. I don't fucking care. Just give me some more FT runners or whatever they're called. FTR runners.
Yeah. No, I think Hangman and Jay is getting on the card, and
I forgot about that. That's how bad this week's been, though, isn't it? Everything's been thrown around like.
Oh, mate, you'll never catch me forgetting anything involving Jay White. You'll never catch me anything like that.
I was watching his promo about 5 minutes before we started recording this. It was class. And it should have been on TV.
It's who the fuck actually wins that match, though. The only way I see there is Jay White wins with a roll-up. He's distracted. Like, it might be a bit of a meh finish because Jay White can't lose this match because he can't. And Hangman doesn't need a clean loss.
Hangman's got a broader story. It doesn't feel like the program with Jay is going to be like very long.
No,
I think they're going to get a couple of great matches out of it, but I think Hangman's broader story is getting back at Swerve again. Whether they do that, whether they drag that over a couple more months until the end of the year when he finally goes for the title again or something.
I think those two stories meet again when the title's involved. I think they'll keep them at arm's length. Who knows? They might even end up being in the C2 together, so it's kind of natural. Something like that. I'm not saying they should do that, but that's the only way I see. I think their stories will look. They're always, the thing is, it feels, even if they've had the match they've had, it still feels like there's so much more in this for me. Like, so much more. Like Mick Foley, Undertaker level, Austin Rock. This is the kind of thing that it's so good. They are so good. There's no way
it's feud of the year. It's the feud of the year for me.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
That's
It's
not one of
AEW's best ever feud. It's AEW's best ever feud by a fucking mile. It's been so good, and there's still so many legs left in it.
With you mentioned the C2 there, I would love to see them miss each other in the C2. Like maybe both lose in semi-finals or something, so they just miss out and tease us with it. Because I'd love to, I would wait a year before we see them together again.
Yeah, why not?
One other thing, just really quickly. I know we've been going a little bit about the predictions and running down the card, but you asked about another return. Did you notice that somebody pulled out of some dates coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Who was that?
Well, if Mike was here, he'd answer it in a heartbeat. But no, it's so Kota Ibushi has pulled out of some DDT dates.
Ooh. Oh, maybe that ties into the tag match then.
So yeah, I forgot about that as well.
If you're doing that, the tag match has to go on late because you can't have a Kenny Omega return with Ibushi unless maybe Ibushi returns on his own first and then Kenny,
Well, I don't know because he's doing something else. He pulled out of some dates, but not all of them. So it conveniently falls around the time of the pay-per-view. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but
fuck.
Yeah,
and he's not shied away from saying like that. That's where he's got. That's what he's doing.
Exactly.
That's what he's been saying, isn't he? He said, I'm looking forward to cracking on with the AEW stuff with Kenny."
That's it.
So
yeah.
Fuck.
But onto the matches that have been announced. Like we've got 2 left, haven't we?
Yeah. Do the last 2 because otherwise we'll be. But it's shit as this week's been in terms of booking. This pay-per-view could be an all-time.
Every pay-per-view they do is almost an all-timer. They've genuinely had 4 all-timer pay-per-views this year alone in Revolution, Dynasty, All Out, and All In. They've had 4, definitely. And I was there for 2 of them, and but they've had 4 pay-per-views where it's just honestly they've got that down to the T. And this will be the same on Sunday. On Saturday. It's Saturday night, isn't it?
Saturday night, even better.
Yeah. For that, yeah. God for that. International breaks should always have an AEW pay-per-view. There's nothing else to look forward to. Because international football is boring as fuck. So we had All Out on the last one. Full Gear must be at the next one then.
I hope so.
I'm getting well excited now.
I'd say that every time Wolves play, they should have an AEW pay-per-view to make me feel less shit. But,
anyway, triple threat match. Again, I've said about 4 or 5 matches can steal the show. This one is going to steal the show. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, it could be the best match of the year. It literally could be the match of the year.
I think Ospreay retains, but I don't know.
I think Ospreay retains, and I think he gets the ever living shit beaten out of him at the end of it. Maybe we I know people said
Ricochet
Davis.
Turn.
Yeah, the Ricochet turn, and I know people said Davis. There's a lot more to what was going on, but I still hope he's on the mend, and he's maybe we do see Davis at some point soon because that's going to be the end game.
The Callis family is going to play a lot into the finish of this match. I think.
I
know I've said that a couple of times.
Hobbs.
Hobbs. Yeah.
I was going to say this could be a big moment for the Callis family because he tried to recruit Archer at the weekend, and it could be that a lot of people are coming down and they're just watching the match from the outside. The finish happens, whatever. Ospreay's getting beat down. They all start to join in. Ricochet standing there, he joins in, and then you've suddenly got this super group that Callis has got, which is from Fletcher Turn as well. Then you've got Fletcher there. You've got, or it might not even be for now. It could be that Fletcher and Ricochet make the save ahead against Archer, maybe a returning powerhouse Hobbs to Takeshita. Then you end up having a 6-man tag down the line, and then Ricochet and Fletcher turn on Ospreay and beat him up, and then suddenly Callis has got this super group. I don't know. I've not thought that before. I just said that now without thinking that once before. It might sound stupid when I listen to it back, but in my head it sounded quite exciting.
No, I think there's potential. I like the Callis group. A lot of people seem to hate Callis, but I think he's a heat magnet. His group was good before injuries started playing a part, and I think with everyone coming back, they could be a real dominant, faction in AEW.
Well, yeah, it's like we talked about last week. AEW seems to be going like main event faction central at the moment, and I love that shit. And it finally seems that Callis family could. I think Takeshita's winning personally. So I think Takeshita's winning by not pinning Ospreay. I think he's pinning Ricochet personally. Which again, you might question some, people's sort of opinions, but I think Takeshita's winning. Like that visual with him holding the belt, to me, it seems like they're priming him for a big push. I mean, we heard sort of murmurings about that anyway, and I think Takeshita's going to be that menace that we wanted him to be for so long.
But based on this week, I genuinely would not be surprised if Ospreay's out of the ring and Takeshita just pokes Ricochet in the chest with his finger and pins him. Because that's what this week has felt like.
Oh dear.
But
match of the night, match of the year, possibly.
It's unpredictable as well. That's the beauty. It's an unpredictable match, which is what you want. Like you want a match going into thinking it's not impossible that anyone leaves this match winning. I don't think Ricochet will, but you don't know. I wouldn't put money on this either way. Who wins this one? And that's what you want from pay-per-view matches. And I wouldn't put money on the main event either. I wouldn't put money on Moxley Danielson. People think it's a foregone conclusion. He's losing the titles to Moxley. I absolutely don't. I think that Daniel. I think he remains champion.
Yeah.
And I think it's last year.
It seems too obvious, doesn't it? It feels like Danielson is set up to defy the odds. And because Moxley's never beat him, has he? Oh no, he did. He beat him in the tournament final to crown the interim. Yeah, no, I stand corrected.
And Danielson's in swearing Danielson mode. Where he's literally every week he's saying, "I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking head in." Danielson's winning this. He loves fucking with us. He's winning this, and I don't think he loses until next year. I think he loses.
I agree.
Probably full game, maybe.
He's not ready to drop his belt yet. He's not retiring yet. I'm sorry.
And he shouldn't drop the belt yet either. I'm loving this. I'm loving
there's so many legs in this. There's 6 months of this. Yeah. Easy.
I'm loving up against the Danielson. And we still need to find out who's behind Moxley. Who is?
We are getting a huge segment at the end of this show because Copeland debuted last year at the end of the show. They are going to go big in this main event. So we're going to go off the air with a proper cliffhanger, whatever it is. I don't know. Are we going to find out who's behind Mox? Or are we going to end up with I don't know. Something very, very big is going to happen at the end of the show, and it might be a proper swerve to what we're thinking. But we're going to go up there, Danielson winning, and then some mad shit.
I think two things. I think firstly, you're absolutely right. I think we're going to get like a mad end to the show. I don't think it's Shane. I don't think Shane's going to be unveiled. I think somehow.
I was just going to say, we've done a shit sandwich. We started off good. We went through all the shit. We've ended good. Should we just end with a bit of shit and give our predictions then of who we think it's going to be? Because it could be really bad.
Well, yeah. So did you see the photo that got posted earlier this week, or maybe late last week? It was about him owning that trademark of Switchblade Conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know who the other person is.
Yeah.
And so
do you think that's it?
Well, no. I think Sami Callihan is going to be a part of this, but I don't think he's the one pulling the strings. So as to who's pulling the strings, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because he's referenced somebody a couple of times, haven't they? I mean, and Excalibur pointed to it on commentary.
Do you think they drag this out longer then? Because this could go the way of the devil if they do drag it out too long.
Yeah,
because if they
Tony Khan would have learned from that last year and the negative reaction it got.
Because the devil would have been great if they'd wrapped it up a month or two earlier, but obviously injuries happened and they had to drag it out. But with this, if they just give us Sammy, and then they go, but there's someone else.
Yeah, there's someone else. Yeah,
that's going to be too much like the higher power. Oh man.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know if there's a good. I don't know if there's a good solution to it now because we're all hyped up about who it could possibly be. Who could it be? We don't want to be Shane.
Yeah, if the contract thing hadn't panned out the way it had, it would have been a perfect thing if Regal was the one pulling the strings.
Oh, 100%. That would have been unreal. But
yeah, if Regal was the one, had he not, left and looked the way he did, left us out
tried to poach talent. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and he was just written off TV and was just doing behind the scenes stuff for ages.
Yeah,
and then he comes back to TV and he leads this super faction. That would have made more sense. But
yeah,
to me, Sami Callihan doesn't seem like a big enough name to be the one pulling the strings.
No, not at all.
So
go on then.
Who is out injured then? I'll tell you what. Before who makes sense?
Is it someone who's already there?
Maybe someone who's injured, perhaps.
I think the person pulling the strings, I really hope it's not. But I think it's someone who's already involved with AEW. I think it's someone who's very, very close to Tony. I think it's his dad.
You think?
Honestly, like, because what else could it be? Oh, this is bigger than you. It's not your company anymore. What else could it be? It better not be fucking Shane. So, like, what else can it be? His dad's, like, literally the only fucking option left unless it's Tony. And you know, I think I'd rather be his dad than it be Tony all along. It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
You know what, as well? I wouldn't be upset with this if it ends up being, until he's ready to come back. It is someone injured, but it would be great. I could tell a bit. Eddie Kingston, you took the word out of my mouth. Yeah.
Sorry, I killed that moment for you. I was going to say him a minute ago.
Imagine if it's Eddie, because Eddie and Brian had the match earlier at Revolution. He has a reason to hate Brian, doesn't he? And he's friends with Mox.
But why is he bigger than AEW? Why is he that person?
That's it. It doesn't make sense.
That's the one, yeah.
That's just a shot.
They've shot themselves, unless they've got something big that we are completely oblivious to. They fucked us there in terms of anything making sense. I'm still feeling that, and I really hope I'm right. And I don't believe, I'm not sure I am, but it feels like they're really building up to this absolute super faction warfare coming up. With you've got Bullet Club Gold back together. Palace family's about to expand and hopefully be taken a lot more seriously. The Elite hopefully will be bothered again and stop being silly all the time. We've got Moxley's faction here. Like, that's a lot of superstar power in a lot of different factions.
Yeah, like the Hurt Syndicate as well.
What about Tanahashi? What is New Japan? Tanahashi's the fucking man pulling the strings. He's got no knees, so he's getting Mox to do it all for him.
Well, it builds into to Dynasty, doesn't it?
Would Shane piss you off that so much? Because I don't think it would piss me off. I think it would be just surreal if it was Shane.
It wouldn't piss me off. I just think it'd be stupid. But
I have to be consistent with it and say I just don't want Shane McMahon in AEW. I'm not going to change on that. I don't want to go back on that. But for so many reasons, I don't want it to happen. It doesn't mean I'm going to suddenly stop watching AEW. I've never said that. I wouldn't consider doing that. And I'm not going to say I wouldn't be intrigued in it. But I personally don't want to see a McMahon in AEW. I just don't want to see it.
I think
it's just the name's been tarnished now, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And him. But
the thing is, the biggest thing for me, the worst thing with me is Vince McMahon at his very worst, most senile, erratic state in 2021. That's Shane McMahon because his ideas were so bad. He sacked his own son because his ideas were so bad at the Royal Rumble that year.
I think it is Shane. Like all jokes aside, I think he's the only one who makes any half sense. I know that doesn't matter this week, but I do think it's Shane. I think, at the end of the day, they're very much a brutal MMA style faction.
Shane
loves his MMA. Yeah, he tried to buy UFC.
He loves it.
They were big. He tried to do that stupid faction in
Raw Underground.
Yeah. And I also, this was suggested by Mike, I think, when we were chatting, could probably have Josh Barnett involved in some way.
Yeah,
and I've got a bad feeling it's going to do that.
He's not a big enough name to be the one pulling the strings.
You're right. Not pulling the strings. Not pulling the strings. I just think he'll be involved, but I think it's going to be Shane, and I think they'll probably do something with Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, because I know Tony and Mox were both saying they would like to work more with him because he was working a lot more with GCW, WWE, wasn't he? So.
And it's ironic, actually, as well, isn't it, when you think about it? Because Barnett last year at WrestleDream, he fought Claudio, didn't he, on the pre-show?
He did,
yeah.
Which was just random, came out of nowhere. I was.
Here's another random one for you that's clearly not gonna happen. But what if Dan fucking Lambert?
Oh God, no!
Yeah.
Oh, we know someone who would love that, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah, fucking hell. It's going to be bad, whoever it is. It's a shame as a devil at this point now. I know
who would love that? Who would love that?
Who would love what?
We're not
Dan
going to
Lambert?
say his name.
There was a guy on the internet who has a lot of followers, and he suggested that the reason the anniversary show, was it the anniversary show? No, the 250th episode of Dynamite didn't feel special and was very by the numbers, was because he would have had Dan Lambert show up, and that would have made it. I will leave you to do some research and find out who that was yourself.
Oh, mate.
He said it was very by the numbers. Maybe they should have had Dan Lambert show up. It would have felt special. What if Conan? What if it's Conan? What if Conan is the mastermind? That's why he won't come on the podcast with Disco. We invited him. We got the space here. Conan, where are you? Not here. Disco's not here. He's dancing somewhere. And what if Conan is the fucking mastermind behind John Moxley? We've cracked it.
I mean, it fits, doesn't it? Max really. Moon is all elite.
He fucking hated the Max Moon stuff when I was ripping him this week. Fucking brilliant. I think that was when he blocked me when I said he still got his fucking moon boots on. So yeah. Anyway, that was a good chat, lads.
Yeah. No, great shout. But yeah. So again, to all our listeners and to all our loyal, objective, totally non-biased followers, thank you again for listening to another great episode of the Bare Bones Group Chat Wrestling Podcast. It's been nice. I've had a great time. Stay safe. Have a good week, and we'll have a WrestleDream review for you sometime after the weekend. Stay safe.
Take care, everyone.
And just to finish on a funny note, Dave Meltzer gave CM Punk v Drew McIntyre 4.5 stars. So Twitter is going to shit blood. Have a good week, guys.
Of course they are. Have a good one.